Ini yang video ya. Sudu titik kepikiran bebek ada tidur. Aku tak tahu tidur. Selalu tidur biar aku.
Announcing the arrival of Dean Abdul Hamid Sulaiman, Kuliya of Islamic Legal Knowledge and Human Sciences, senior officials, panelists, and moderator of roundtable discussion, Muhammad Kamal Hassan, and request for comprehensive excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem, Negara. You may be seated. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let us begin with the recitation of Kitab al-Fatiha. Amin. Honored guests, professors, staff, and students. The International Islamic University Malaysia, as an intellectual and educational institution, is devoted to the philosophy and profound mission found in Surah Al-Alaq. Allow me to invite Brother Muhammad Azri bin Muhammad Safri to recite the surah. Please welcome.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. خلق الإنسان من علق. اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى. إن إلى ربك الرجعى. أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى. أرأيت إن كان على الهدى أو أمر بالتقوى. أرأيت إن كذب وتولى. ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى. كلا لئن لم ينته لنسفعا بالناصية. ناصية كاذبة خاطئة. فليدع ناديه سندع الزبانية. كلا لا تطعه واسجد واقترب. صدق الله العظيم. السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you, Madam Muhammad Azri, for the beautiful recitation. Ladies and gentlemen, these verses suggest that seeking knowledge is itself a form of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Accordingly, all disciplines of knowledge should be applied to attain the highest level of excellence in every aspect of life. I'm Muna Siddiqui, a postgraduate student from the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the roundtable discussion, Muhammad Kamal Hassan and the Quest for Comprehensive Excellence. This event is organized by Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Kuliya of Islamic Liberal Knowledge in Human Sciences, hosted by the Postgraduate Seminars and Islamization Committee of the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy. This committee is led by Honorable Professor Dr. Mohd Ali. One of the most important activities of this committee is organizing seminars twice a month, which are regularly attended by lecturers, postgraduate, and undergraduate students of RTUD and other departments. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Mohd Ali to offer the welcoming remarks. Please welcome.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم وبعد. My respected Professor Dr. Hafiz Zakaria Dean Kuliya Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliya of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences, my respected brother and head of the department Dr. Maidan Ilyas and Professor Rajdan, Professor Husnani, Professor Tamim Usama, Professor Shukran, and our dearest Professor Aziza. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I feel pleasure for two reasons. Number one is that I am welcoming to all our colleagues who have devoted all their lives for the promotion of this university, especially the aims and objectives of this university. And second thing, this is the program about my and your and all of us mentor, Murshid, beloved teacher, Murabbi, Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan, who introduced another triple IT. Instead of triple IT, introduced this integration, Islamization, internalization, and comprehensive excellence. Now today we are gathered to re-emphasize his wish as the academics of this university as well as the students of this Mumtaz University, International Islamic University, M, which stands for Mumtaz University. So we all are here to achieve excellence. Again, become Mumtaz. Mumtaz only, not Ali. Only Mumtaz. So, on 27th July, I met Professor Kamal Hassan in 1987. And I had seen his photos, but when I saw him, a very handsome, very young Professor Sheikhul Kuliya of Center for Fundamental Knowledge, who embraced, who shook hands, and who welcomed. Since that day until his last day, we were in touch with him. Especially, he invited to his house few professors. Professor Usama was also there. I also there. And he advised us, don't leave this university because of any other reason. stay until the university gives you extension for teaching in this university. And he invited us to his house only to advise this. And he made it very clear that my purpose of invitation is to tell all of you that you must stay here in this university. You have to protect the philosophy, the vision, the mission of this university.
चेंज करो कपड़े.
So, because of this, I welcome all of you, especially our speakers. And I also thank all of you for being present here. My special thanks goes to the whole team of Usuluddin Student Society and postgraduate representatives and students of Department of Usuluddin, Comparative Religion and Philosophy. And also I am thankful to the whole team of the Department of Usuluddin. And I am lastly in advance would like to thank all our panelists for their time, for their reflections on how to achieve comprehensive excellence. Thank you very much. Welcome once again, all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Mohd Mumtaz Ali. Now, may I invite Professor Dr. Hafiz bin Zakaria, Dean of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Legal Knowledge and Human Sciences, to deliver the opening address. Please welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Dr. Majidan alias the head of Department of Usuluddin, who is also the convener of this program, the deans, the prominent people in IUM, Dr. Hamidun and Azza, I cannot name everyone, the distinguished panelists, Prof. Mumtaz, we should name something after him. Prof. Tamim, who is the moderator. Let me start with the proverb, which I think that should not be translated from Mumtaz. You understand Malay as well. Harimau mati meninggalkan belang, manusia mati meninggalkan nama. A tiger dies leaving its stripes. A human dies leaving his name or fame. But Almarhum Prof. Kamal is not a person of fame. He's a person of ikhlas who doesn't want to be known here, but known by Allah and the people of that is who Prof. Kamal is. And we are gathered today. It is my immense honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this roundtable discussion on Prof. Kamal Hassan and the quest for comprehensive excellence. And indeed, Prof. Kamal is a man for all seasons. Needs no introduction and elaboration because this should be a very short one. I would like to record here special thanks to Dr. Majdan, the Department of Usuluddin, the whole department, the whole secretariat, and I will name them later. And Prof. Kamal was affiliated with CFK and later on he became the Department of Usuluddin. So thank you so much for the commitment to organize this roundtable discussion. To our esteemed invited speakers, Emerita Professor Dr. Usnani Hashim, who know Almarhum really well, Prof. Azizan, all these know him very, very well, Prof. Shukran, and also Prof. Rushdan, from University of Science Islam Malaysia. We are deeply indebted to your sharing time and expertise today. We look forward to your invaluable insight on Muhammad Kamal Hassan and the Coin for Comprehensive Excellence. And no need to mention what are the contribution of Muhammad Kamal Hassan, because everybody knows what are the contribution. As we open this roundtable, I encourage all of our participants to engage in open, fruitful, constructive dialogue. Let us use this space to bridge ideas and, more importantly, to map out actionable steps to keep these points for comprehensive excellence alive in our institution today. Thank you once again to the organizer, and I would like to mention UCDY, Usuluddin and Comparative Religion Society, Postgraduate Seminar in Islamization Committee, and the representative of postgraduate students in RKUG, all lecturers, and especially Dr. Magdan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Hafiz and Zakaria. Let us now take a few moments to view a short montage in remembrance of Almarhum Professor Emeritus Tan Sri Dr. Kamal Hassan, celebrating his tireless efforts and enduring legacy in the pursuit of comprehensive excellence.
In 1983, a vision was turning into a reality, not merely to establish a university, but to redefine the world's understanding of education itself. At the center of that vision stood an extraordinary man. Almarhum Tan Sri Professor Emeritus Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan was the architect of IIUM's very foundation. He authored the university's founding concept paper, a bold blueprint to bridge the long-standing divide between religious and secular knowledge, uniting both within a single holistic Islamic framework. He served IIUM in nearly every major capacity, from Sheikhul Kuliah and Dean to Deputy Rector, before ultimately serving as Rector from 1999 to 2006. A visionary scholar and reformer, he pioneered the Center for Fundamental Knowledge, championed the Islamicization of human knowledge, and introduced the concept of relevantization, breathing contemporary relevance into classical Islamic thought and enabling it to engage meaningfully with the modern world. For Almarhum Professor Kamal, knowledge without character was never enough. He consistently emphasized Tazkiyatul Qalb wan Nafs, the purification of the heart and soul, and dedicated his life to nurturing graduates who were not only intellectually capable, but also morally grounded, spiritually anchored, and prepared to lead with wisdom, integrity, and purpose. He was a murabbi, a murshid, and a role model, non-partisan, principled, and unwavering in his commitment to the Ummah. His vision for IIUM was simple yet profound, an institution that revitalizes Islamic intellectual dynamism and serves all of humanity. That legacy lives on in each student who walked these halls and in every heart he helped to purify. The famous Malay proverb says, "Patah tumbuh, hilang berganti." What is once lost will be replaced. But in Almarhum Prof. Kamal's case, patah belum tumbuh, hilang sukar berganti. Lost, not yet grown, gone will be difficult to replace. Al-Fatihah.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us now take a moment of silence and recite Surah Al-Fatiha in honor of the soul of Al-Marhum. May the mercy, blessings, and bounties of the Almighty be showered upon him, and may his soul be placed among the righteous. Al-Fatiha. We hope the montage presentation has touched your hearts and reminded us of his noble legacy. Thank you for watching. We shall now proceed with the roundtable discussion. The panelists for the discussion are Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Rushdie Muhammad Jailani, Dean, Faculty of Leadership and Management, University Science, Islam Malaysia. Professor Emerita Dr. Rosnani Hashim, former Dean, Kuliah of Education, IIUM. Professor Dr. Hazizan bin Maknoon, Dean, International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, ISTAC, IIUM. Professor Dr. Shukran bin Abdul Rahman, Principal Director of Office of Strategic Institution Transformation, IIUM. The moderator for this roundtable discussion is Professor Dr. Tamim Sharma from the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy. Without further ado, I respectfully invite Professor Dr. Tamim Sharma to take over as moderator for the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sister. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وأجمعين. Honorable Professor Dr. Hafiz Zakaria, Dean Abdul Hamid Abdul Sulaiman, Kuliah of Islamic Religious Knowledge and Human Sciences. Respected Dr. Majdan bin Alias, Head Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy. Respected panelists, to begin with, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Rushdie Muhammad Jailani, respected Professor Dr. Rosnani Hashim, respected Professor Dr. Hazizan Muhammad Noon, respected Professor Dr. Shukran bin Abdul Rahman, Dr. Hamidun, the Director for Center for Islamization, dear colleagues, special invitees from the Kuliah management as well as other Kuliahs, not least, our colleagues from the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy, as well as students of this International Islamic University in Malaysia. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Indeed, it is an honor for me to sit in front of you as a moderator to moderate the session titled Roundtable Discussion, Muhammad Kamal Hassan and the Quest for Comprehensive Excellence. As Professor Mumtaz rightly pointed out, he met him in 1987. I met him in 1984. I have navigated with him for about 28 years. I was part of his team in the academic administration, and I have known him very closely very intimately, not only as a colleague, but also as his disciple, as his friend. To me, he is the only godfather. And I'm sure that he is the godfather for many of our students. We have a brother, his name is Amir. He belongs to second batch of this university. And he used to attend several sessions organized and discussed in presence of Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan. He used to ask numerous questions to Professor Kamal. And when he heard about this program, he has, Alhamdulillah, decided to participate in this program. Like this, we have many of our friends and colleagues and students joining this program, I'm sure, online. Professor Kamal Hassan has numerous qualities, characteristics, and attributes. And this is not my responsibility to do this today, even though I'm willing to do, but we have 4 distinguished, eminent professors who have known Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan for a long time. We have 4 distinguished people. We'll be talking on 4 different themes or issues or important elements in the light of the topic that has been chosen for this roundtable conference. To begin with, we have Associate Professor Dr. Mohammed Rashdan Muhammad Jailani, who is currently an Associate Professor of Islamic Thought and Islamic Psycho-Spiritual Therapy, Department of Aqidah and Religious Studies, Faculty of Leadership and Management, University Science Islam, Malaysia. He graduated from the Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences in 1996. So he is the proper person representing the IIM alumni to talk about Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan. And he has known him very well from inside as well as from outside. He has held numerous academic administrative positions. And he is currently the Dean, Faculty of Leadership and Management, University Science Islam, Malaysia. And he has numerous publications. And I wish to read some of the selected titles of publication. And before we enter this hall, I congratulated him for writing these articles or books because he has really shown the integration of knowledge. He is a student of revealed knowledge, specializing in faith, but he has written a number of articles integrating Islamic revealed knowledge with human sciences disciplines. The first one is Factors Influencing Mental Health and Spiritual Well-Being Among the Individuals Experiencing Homelessness. It was published by International Journal of Academic Research and Business and Social Sciences. The second one is Psycho-Spiritual Change. Agents are needed to address drug and substance abuse issues among non-Muslim students in Malaysia. It has been published by Muslim Journal of Social Science and Humanities. Then comes the real integration. The integration of 5 main goals of Sharia in the production of science and technology for human well-being. So he has looked into this particular dimension from the Maqasid Sharia perspective. Nurturing holistic and balanced graduates in an era of disruption in Aini and Dariya Shireen, strengthening Malaysian higher education, a contemporary discourse. And then philosophical examination on integration of knowledge. Then psychology of da'wah, impact on balanced personality among private young adult higher university in Malaysia. Likewise, he has numerous publications. Due to time constraint, I decided not to read the whole, but I respectfully call upon Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Rustan Muhammad Ilani to deliver his speech, and you are given 20 minutes. Thank you very much. وليتفضل مشكورا يا أستاذ الكريم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعفو للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Respected Director of Habib Sama, and I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for many reasons today this morning. One, because I really honored to be here, privileged to be here, and come back to my alma mater, the work. And secondly, because I really am so happy and so pleased to meet my gurus, my teachers, my masters. This is Prof. Dr. Of course, the rest, also my colleague here from us, okay, I mean my master as well, for coming itself, okay, and then the rest of my colleagues here, I started Dean, the Peace for Farm Peace, and the Mohd, and all my ex-state colleagues, the Dawati, the Sri Muhammad, and who is here, yeah, so them, okay, and the rest of our things here, the family, also one of my friends when you were here at University. And to all the organizing committee, really happy for being given this opportunity. And inshallah, I honored to be as first speaker, which I think I not deserve to be as a first speaker, but then the moderator request me and insists me to be the first speaker. So I take this chance and honor this privilege. Perhaps my topic is the easiest one compared to the other two, which I focus more on. They call it Prof. Hassan contribution. Prof. Hassan in contributions to nurturing character and competence in the global movement. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Prof. Kamal has written numerous books and articles, but just take a few of them. Number one, which I think they are focused more on the ideas on how he talked about nurturing characters and competence. Among the book or the writing that he focused on this is the Malay concept of sejahtera from an Islamic perspective, and then voice of Islamic moderation from the Malay world, and then a return to Quranic paradigm of development and integral science, and then towards actualization, towards actualizing Islamic intelligence, and then corruptions and hypocrisy in Malay Muslim politics, the agency of moral ethical transformation. And few of his video you can watch and view in the YouTube. So I would like to start with why he believed that nurturing character and competence is very important in the Ummah. Because from his experience, from his engagement with Muslims in the world, you know, there were many gaps which we can see in our Muslim countries. The gap is, among others, is some Muslims just focus more on the individual, personal Muslim character and poverty, the professionalism, that means the professional contributions in the Ummah. Meaning to say, for Prophet Kamal, it's not really useful for Muslim to just focus on doing Salat, praying for hours and forgetting their duties to helping, contributing Ummah in many aspects of what needed by the society. Here, he requests us to think about we should be a good professional Muslim, excellent Muslim, who can contribute in the Ummah, but at the same time possessing and embracing a very high noble characters. So this is something very astonishing because we thought that to be a good Muslim, I mean not now, I mean last time, for the past 30 years, 40 years ago, you need to be in the mosque, you need to be in the front of Kaaba and focusing on doing zikr. But then he came up with this idea. And talking about this idea, last 40 years, it's not something very popular. That idea is something not very popular because at that time, somehow the idea is being a Muslim is focusing on Islamic studies, focusing on being a good Muslim into our Fardul Ain, and not so much on to be a professional. But then he came up with this idea, and he put this idea as one of the fundamentals if you want to help Muslim forward now during his time. And okay, but then when he talked about that, he realized the challenges that Muslims face. Undoubtedly, among others, is the secularism. Yeah, the moderations, sorry, the moderation as well as also we call it the globalizations. So these somehow influence Muslims, and it influenced the minds and the thought of Muslims, even among the Muslim scholars and Muslim students. So they came up with ideas, civilization of knowledge, or civilization of human knowledge to be exact, and not enough to get the come up with civilizations of self, which if we put it in this way, for him, the idea of civilization of knowledge is not enough because it just stated on the curriculum and stated in the textbook, not influenced so much in the context of really embracing and practicing it in our daily life, and also in giving us a clear idea on how we should be not only a theoretical basis, but also the mix of theoretical and also practical Muslim scholars. That's why when you talk about character and competence, you can see that in his works, he focused so much on you are not considered as a good Muslim until and unless you can be a person who having a God conscious and divine base compass. It means that you need to have a very clean heart. He really putting an idea on inner self kind of statelessness. So for him, until and unless he possess what? Sincerity, among others, sincerity, and then he possess tawbah, and then qana'ah, and then al-haya. It's among the characters that he always emphasized, he repeated many times in his works, in his talk. We should embrace this. Otherwise, we will act the same way how the secularist basis scholars talk or behave. So he wants us to think about, don't forget on how we should purify ourselves from time to time, take it and do it seriously and continuously. And one thing I also remember that he reminds us, don't forget to know your rival, your enemy, your real enemy. And who is your enemy? No, if you talk about self is one thing, but you talk about Satan, the devil. Yeah, it sounds like quite popular in the most. You're talking about Satan, Bomo, Satan, okay, Satan. But scholars who talk about this Satan and remind us about Satan and devil, to me is very good because very something interesting because many words talk about Satan. And one thing when I talk about Satan in terms of how the Islamic psychology and Islamic counseling teachers or lecturers should talk about this. But they are not reactive with me because I say this is not something can be considered as one element of counseling and psychology. For them, this is not like not really sounds objective because Satan is not included in our discussion. But then Prophet Muhammad insists on that. He said that knowing Satan is one of the process of us to becoming a good person. Because it started with self, and then we open up ourselves to Satan, and Satan can also influence us and also give us a wrong guide and be a horrible kind of person. Okay, come back to the idea of character and competence. So besides talking about the possessions of the self, or they call it Islamic Saksi Nafsi, he also talking about Ulul Albab model. Ulul Albab model. This is another important character for us to wear and to take it as one of our important action. Individuals who fully utilize empirical observation and scientific reasoning, but whose minds are entirely anchored, okay, in divine revelation. So again, Ulul in this context, as we know very well, not only the one who can think properly, who can do the scientific experiments, but can also have a very good balance between mind, body, and soul. And the third is what I want to share is talking about balanced civilization. Okay, because the aim of Prophet Kamal, I think Prophet also know very well, is not only to establish individual and stop with that, but then he continue with society. But more than that, he wants us to think about Ummah, global Ummah. Okay, we are not going to consider success until we can help our Ummah and initiate or bring back the true meaning of civilizations. So here he put it very clearly. He said, competence without character leads to exploitations and social hazards. Okay? But then character without competence is practically ineffective. So he rejected the idea that religious society could substitute for professional masters. Okay, and the competent masters professional an incompetent Muslim professional was a liability to the global ummah, regardless of how long they spend in prayer. So here, he wanted us to see that we're going to establish ummah, to establish civilization. These two things need to be at par at all times. At all times. Okay, I thought the time is up. At all times, these two components need to be embraced. Okay, and of course, he also put in a kind of very clear idea of, my last point is talking about global ummah and character and computer. He said, global and contextual agility of work here. Okay, so here competence must be dynamic and responsive to the contemporary world. So, he didn't want us to, graduates to focus and idolize historical past. Okay, he demanded us to what? To equip with the future and the current things, the current discussion, current solutions, current developments, and whatnot. Okay, so the idea of computers and also the idea of computer and the idea of what you call it character is like I would say goes hand in hand. And then the idea of working also very crucial because we can aware that we have to acknowledge somehow for some reason we are not yet able to be the most respected and the most referred and the most kind of like you can say people will take as a benchmark. Okay, so we should do many things. For instance, talking about if you want to be a master's in science, okay, so be the most expert, the most a respectable person in your field, okay, and also in other field of knowledge and sciences. And at the same time, this cannot just work in silo. You need to also think about how to integrate them, how to link your field of expertise with others, and how to work together in a team, and how to always think on how to not solving the past but future for now and also the future. And Program Hassan also in few of his books and film, he emphasized on the ideas of if you want to be a leader, because eventually everyone is a leader, but the most so-called highest form of leader is when you be a leader in what? In the ummah, as a leader in the country, states, or having a big responsibility and amanah. And he emphasized what competence and character is an urgent necessity for the global ummah, reflecting the problem of what we are facing among our political or politicians when they involve in what in some kind of corruptions and hypocrisy. So this is a challenge for us. We don't want to produce politicians or leaders who cannot have a balance between having an amanah and also being conducting amanah in the most responsible way, the most accountable way. So he reminds us because he said, so far, this is something that he proud of. If you view his video on this, for us, he said, still long way to go. Still long way to go. Don't feel we are already in a comfort zone and we are okay with that. Don't forget, the character always leads us to the moral compass. And character also leads us to right virtues. Okay? You don't talk so much about comparison or comparative studies of the virtues, talking from the Christianity or Buddhist, so much on that, but can stress on the Islamic perspective. But then, of course, he do talk about we should engage with them in most respectful way, respectable way. Do not bring your emotion. Do not bring your so-called war emotion when we deal with the non-Muslims or race or non-civilizations. So this is always one of his advice when he talk about bringing bring in respectable colleague candidates. So I think, Prof. Tamim, this is now the point that I'd like to share, and I believe many of these ideas are known among us, and I believe you can also highlight and share your ideas regarding these programmal contributions in nurturing to characters and also contributions in our global map. With that, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Bustan Muhammad Jailani, for your thought-provoking speech, in which you have highlighted numerous things which are to be really considered by our students in particular and IIUM community in general. You have rightly pointed out on many things. I remember Prof. Kamal used to say few phrases in his speeches consistently. One was, we are Khalifatullah fil ard. We have to take note of this amana given to us. Second, he was saying, we are Ibadur Rahman. And for that, he was quoting the ayah from Surah Al-Furqan, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ حَوْنًا وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Then he was focusing on man as al-insan al-qam. So he wanted the IIUM community to really actualize the content, the substance, the spirit of Khalifatullah fil ard, Ibadur Rahman al-Insan al-Kamil. Thank you very much for your excellent presentation. We now move on to the second speaker, who is none other than our Professor Dr. Rosnani Hashim, who has been with us since 1987. She was in the Department of Education before the Department and the Kuliya of Education was formed. Dr. Rosnani was a professor of social foundations of education and the Kuliya of Education. She was the founding dean of the Kuliya when the Kuliya was founded in 2010. She has a BSc in mathematics, MSc in curriculum and instruction, and PhD in social foundations of education, University of Florida. Professor Rosnani has extensive practical experiences as a school teacher of mathematics and statistics. Now she is a great scholar of Islamic thought and education. So from mathematics to Islamic thought. So she has integrated mathematics into Islamic thought, but we used to integrate Islamic thought into mathematics. So she has an experience. Please consult her if you really want to understand the concept of integration, inshallah. Being the world of scholarship, Professor Rosnani is well known in Malaysia and internationally through her academic writings and also her work in explanation of education and dualism, the necessity of the integrated curriculum and the Islamization of knowledge. Recently, she argues for the need of philosophical inquiry in Muslim curriculum. Among her major works are Educational Dualism in Malaysia, published by Oxford University in 1996. Yes, she has edited a book with another, Saeed Naji, and the title of the book is History, Theory and Practice of Philosophy for Children, published by Routledge in 2017. Her work towards an Islamic curriculum, principles and issues, and an edited book with Professor Tansir Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Penafsira, Baru, Falsafa, Pendifica, and Kabaksa. All these were published by Professor Rosnani. Professor Rosnani also has contributed the national level in the KBSM curriculum for mathematics, Islamic education, and preschool. She was a committee member of LEPAI curriculum committee established by Jackie. She was also a member of IKIN Research Committee in Education. She was also a member of Education Cluster of the National Professor Council and also a member of Islamic Education Task Force of National Education Council, and she has many more credentials, but due to time constraint, I wish to continue with her presentation. With this, may I respectfully call upon Professor Dr. Rosnani to give her presentation. Thank you very much. Welcome. You can sit. Okay, please. Prof, you are given 20 minutes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Brother Amir, for calling me up here. I'd like to thank, first of all, the Brother Dr. Majidan and the Department of Suruddin for inviting me to share some experiences and talk about Prof. Kamal's integrated model educational practice evaluation. I wouldn't say it's nice to be back here because I'm always here actually. Although I retired in 2015, I was on contract 2020. But I keep coming back here for occasional meetings with friends and also talks. Prof. Kamal is something special to, especially not to me, but to the education department. Okay. I don't have the remote control. That's why I was speaking for the remote control. Then I can control how to jump around because my slide is so long. So anyway, I've served here since 1987. Okay, when I came together at the same time, Prof. Kamal Sulaiman came here. Then I left with Professor. So, our department was formed as a Center for Education in 1987. Was when I was shortlisted, was manhunted from the school Marasat Seremban, teach the university. I was looking forward to that because I have my own mission. If I stay in Marasat Seremban, I can teach 20 students or 25 students. I follow them until what we call this Form 5. Yeah, I took them until Form 5. They didn't know them very well, and they know me very well as well. Okay? But then I will only be producing 25 students for all my 7 years or 8 years. So I took the opportunity to come and join IEM because if I teach in the diploma, then it was diploma in education program, then I can teach teachers. But there will be geometric effects. So that was kind of vision. Unfortunately, I don't know whether I succeeded or not again. But anyway, we were established in 87, the same year that National Philosophy of Education was formulated. So I think there was a connection between the formation of that center with the NPE. Okay, and that was when, because there was no Kuliah yet, so we were put under the Deputy Director's office, whereby Prof. Kamal and Prof. Suhaimi were leading. And that was when I get to know Prof. Kamal. Okay, so next slide, please. Next. Since we're going to talk about education, so let's see what is the effort of Prof. Kamal in terms of education. If you look at his life, you can see that his journey was towards realizing Islamic integrated education in higher education in the university. He had ceaseless efforts to enlighten both scholars and government officials about Islamic education, especially its taqlid, philosophy, its epistemology of the revealed and acquired sciences, the importance of knowledge and faith, the scientific mentality and Muslim progress in this world, and the necessity of nurturing the ulul albab. Yeah, he's albab. And in the end, at the close of his life, he was talking about wasatiyah and also the danger of the corrupt society. He provided the theoretical framework, but also gave the best of his life to the struggle for an Islamic university as the pinnacle of Islamic integrated education, and he witnessed its realization in 1983 through the establishment of IUM. So he has been doing that, and he made this, at least his achievement there with the establishment of the university. Next, please. I would consider Prof. Kamal as synonymous with IUM because first, he was instrumental in drafting the concept of the university in 1982. Okay, and then and not only drafting the concept, but after its existence in 1983 and later on until he became director, before Abdul Sulaiman came, okay, he was the one to set up with his team the curriculum, the program curriculum for the university. And that is something that he wants to be different from other traditional Islamic university. He didn't want to have a Islamic living knowledge faculty, but he said that it should be Islamic living knowledge across the discipline. Okay, so that's why he set up the Center for Fundamental Knowledge. And he was given the opportunity to realize its as director during the turbulent time. Okay, he managed to steer IM during the turbulent period. Okay, and find the mnemonic triple ICE. I think you all should know that. And that was a very nice mnemonic. All of this remember mission and vision that day. And we also coined the slogan Gardens of Knowledge and Virtue to remember it easily. And then further later on, after not being elected, he elaborated the meaning of IIT and the centuries, and he gave various what they call these levels of the practice. I guess he was an intellectual and spiritual guide to the Muslim Ummah, Malaysia and also in the world. Next, please. So I have to rush because of the time. Next slide, please. Okay. Can you go to the next slide? Some more slide. Continue. Okay, continue next one. Okay. So before I can talk about his practice, I like to talk about his theory. But it's not good to see. Okay. So Prof. Kamal has his own theory. It is related to educational and development. Education and development. When I first came here to join the university, we had only diploma of education students to produce teachers. They already had a bachelor degree from other universities in the country. Okay. The one textbook that I remember using very much is his book on Pendidikan dan Pembangunan, Education and Development. That book was a compilation of all these articles on education and development, Islamization as well. It was compiled by President Zamri of Kadir, or President Minister of Education. When I look at that, okay, if President Zamri, okay, really understood what he compiled, okay, and then he becomes the Minister of Education, he can do it. Because Prof. Kamal written that in that book, okay, and I use that for my class, okay. So anyway, one of the things that bothers Prof. Kamal was education was not properly used for individual, personal, human development, but rather it was more for economics. And For example, in the 50s, it was economy. And then in the 70s, you have human development, or human capital development. Okay. And then later on, it becomes sustainable development. And then later on, in the 90s, it's the MDG. So he was very disappointed because we are not using it for the real purpose of education. And he said that we have to change this. He does not, he said it does not address the issues of moral development of human beings or the moral decadence. Okay, then okay. So education has lost its meaning and its purpose. And he even mentioned commodification and commercialization of higher education as bring about what we call as turn universities into factories to produce workers. And I think we all agree with that. He's really against that. And therefore, he proposed that education and development must change its principles and philosophy, and that we should, what they call this, should be based on Tawhid. And Aqidah should be the basis. Okay. He proposed scholars to look inward to the Islamic legacy. Man should develop with the basic awareness that he possesses a spirituality that connects him to Allah, who created him and support his existence. So he wants students, whatever field, to be connected spiritually to Allah. So that's why I said we should go back to Tawhid. Okay? And he talked about integrated Islamic approach, integrate knowledge and good characters, as Brother Ustad mentioned now. Knowledge and good characters, the mind and the heart, fikir and zikr, skills and work ethics. Okay, this can read probably in the history of Kamal Hassan. And he was also agreeing with the First World Conference Muslim Education's proposals. Okay. Next slide, please. Actually, I was expecting Prof. Azizan to be speaking first again, so suddenly it was the other way around now. So I'm not going to talk so much about Islamization, okay? And this is what I summarized as his contribution to IUM. I made it as later on. The concept paper, the CFK, SSHAPE, the first relation director, and then crystallizing the mission of Triple I, Guardian of Knowledge and Virtue, help in working out the curriculum for diploma in Islamic studies in centuries. You know what's happened there, and elaborate on the meaning of summation of knowledge, summarization of knowledge. Right? Okay, I think that next slide. What he has done has an impact on Muslim development, integrated development, because we started with only two faculties, two kuliah, law and economics. And economics we have ventured into the practical aspect of Islamic banking, Islamic takaful, Islamic financial. So in other words, there is an impact in society back then. Okay? And also in law, Alhamdulillah, with Professor Ahmad Ibrahim, okay, Ahmad Ibrahim, we have to elevate the status of the Sharia courts. Okay, so I think, and now most lawyers are well versed in both the Sharia and the civil laws. Okay, so this is how it has helped. And also in terms of education, as I mentioned, we talk about integrated education, curriculum sekolah menengah, and it has influenced basic education with the establishment of the university and influenced basic education and even education in most other institutions in the country. Next slide, please. Of course, he has challenges. The challenges that he mentioned in his work, okay, is basically the political crisis that he went through and had to steer the university carefully. You can see that it was very cautious. And secondly was the challenge of commodification and commercialization of knowledge, and then ranking. Okay, he said that he realized that excessive focus in this research university status and ranking will thwart IUM from its original mission of Islamization and integration. I think you all lived through this, you can see, I can see. When I look at the university today compared to the time when I was still very early in my career, so people are so engrossed with KPIs and publishing for the KPI, not really as what the just now, not really trying to solve a problem, but trying to publish just to make sure that the KPI are fulfilled. If that is the intention of work, then I don't think we will ever be producing great jobs, great works, a legacy. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, now let's look at Prof. Kamal's integrated and Islamicized model in educational practice. Okay, I noticed that Prof. Kamal has two levels of curriculum reform: integration and Islamization. Okay, he sees IUM as not traditional university, so there's no Kuliah of Islamic Studies. Okay, so the first level is integration. For him, integration is formal integrated curriculum, where initially CFK is integrated with the Kuliah. Okay, and then there is a list of courses, 11 courses, all on Islamic foundation. Okay, to be taken by students from Kuliah of Law and Kuliah of Economics. Okay, that is the first stage, the formal integrated curriculum. Then there is a non-formal curriculum, which is the halakah and the ibadah camp. And this is very crucial because as far as I remember, being the head of department in the program education, this is the best part that we learn in the program of the university, the ibadah camp. Because in the ibadah camp, we have a lot of talks related to the deen, life, and Prof. Kamal never failed turning up and give a talk for us. So that's why we got to know from Kamal closer that way, although he never give a lecture first. And then the second one, Islamization, is what we are doing now. I think it will be elaborated from my colleagues. Then the stages of categorization that comes under Islamization as well. Next slide, please. However, this is Prof. Kamal's curriculum. Integration is coexistence between non-religious discipline, law and economics, CFK. And CFK has a lot of courses, as you can see there. They're all related to Aqidah, Quran, Sunnah, Sharia, faith, ethics, Da'wah, civilization, history of Islam, Islamic society, Islamic talks. Okay, so in other words, there is a lot of courses providing a strong foundation for these students. So the first generation, the first few batches were very lucky because they got this. Okay, the next slide, please. But then when Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman came, okay, he changed it. He said, you cannot just say, okay, we need to have what do you call this specialization in real knowledge. So that's why they established KIKHS, and in fact, education began before KIKHS. So when KIKHS was established in 1990, we were absorbed under KIKHS, okay? And then, so what happened was that they go together as like one big Kuliah, KIKHS. KIK student has to minor in human science, human science has to minor in IRK. So that is his practical step. But what happened is that's fine, okay, with IRK and human science. But look at the other, now we have more new Kuliah. Those new Kuliah, they don't have that combination. What they have is a reduced core, university core, okay? And they established the Department of General Studies. Next slide, please. So if you look at the curriculum structure there, this effect could be observed from the different generation of graduates of IUM from the two different structures. The first structure of Prof. Kamal, CFK, okay, had the effect of producing graduates from all Kuliah of the university who took sounder understanding of Islam and articulate this and its articulation despite not originating from IRKS specialization. I read Prof. Aslam's chapter in as script to Prof. Kamal. Students found the experience life-changing. But the term life-changing makes a big difference. So they found it very important. It's the first time for them to see this, okay? However, Prof. Hamid's second structure in 1990 has reduced the number of courses, okay? It's good that now I get HS. RIK student knows HS, HS know RIK, they know some Arabic, they know some English. That's how our students become more popular. Okay, the standard can speak English. So that is the integration. So that is the problem. Then we have Department of Fundamental FID. What's the sophisticated for that? Okay, next. Look at what are the evaluation of issues and challenges. Prof. Kamal's model was innovative, balanced, holistic, but lacked in training of IRK specialists. Okay, the expansion of higher education was too fast, too many students, and less quality academic staff. Government wanted lesser graduation unit, so that all affected. And then on the political crisis, okay, and then leadership after 206 days of the Prof. Kamal was focused on research, university, and SDG, but not for integration and Islamization. So centuries was established. So my question now, are the universities called going to provide strong foundation? Let's go to the next one. I know I'm 4 minutes. Okay. So if you look now at this is the present core course of the university. Only 3 courses are basically Islamic foundation. Basic philosophy and Islamic worldview, ethics and fiqh, knowledge and civilization stuff. The rest are, I don't know what. I would say I was never in this committee that set up this kind of order. People never respect education professor, even in the system of education in the country. KPM never invite even the dean of education to come and join them. Not like when I was the dean then. We were invited, but not the present one, they never invite. Everyone are good education, it's not about faculty of education. So you look at this, most of these courses are prerequisites to some courses. Don't call them university core courses. Okay, so then you must look back at this. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Next, please. Islamic foundation is not strong. Okay, we have modern Islamic history with all the relevant contemporary knowledge. Epistemological foundation can be stronger in terms of comprehensive education and methodologies. Need to review the curriculum of the university. Next, please. Okay, next slide. Okay. I want to show you models of our education curriculum. The first model is the liberal arts education in America. Second model is Al-Atas model. My model is the next model. If I were asked to recommend, I have 2 core. My core, if the core of the American universities are subjects from each discipline of studies, okay, the core in Al-Atas is basically Islamic philosophy and studies. My core will comprise of the Islamic and also the other discipline. Okay, move on, please. Why liberal education? Not to be liberal, but you mind liberal again. If you look at the rationale for liberal education in America, you will see why they have liberal education. Like, you can read it for yourself because I can't see what to say. Sorry, my eyesight is not good, but I'm using one eye actually. So I can't read that. You can read for yourself. If you look at the American liberal education, okay, it's conducted in spirit of free inquiry, undertaken without a concern for topic. It's not relevant. They're not talking about vocational utility. This kind of learning is not only one of enrichment of existence, it's one of achievement of civilization. It heightens student awareness of the human and natural worlds they inhabit. It makes them more reflective about their beliefs and choices. more self-conscious and critical of their presupposition and motivations, more creative in their problem solving, more perceptive of the world around them, and more able to inform themselves about issues that arise in their lives personally, professionally, and professionally and socially. The subject the undergraduate study are, as importantly, the skills, habits they must acquire in the process. Blah, 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 blah. So some will go into become academic, many become physicians, lawyers, and professional business people. All of them will be citizens. All as such will be helping to make decisions that may affect the life of others. All of them will be engaged in process of change. Okay, all of them will confront ethical dilemmas in their personal and professional life, and just in any form and way. So liberal arts education refers education relating to the professional, vocational, not relating to the professional, vocational, technical. Okay, one slide, next slide, please.
Prof, can you conclude?
Yeah, I want to complete now. If you look at the aims of liberal education, you will see that to produce that liberal educated man, you have to have thinking and writing effectively. So it is language. You need a critical appreciation of the ways in which one deals. So you have various sources of knowledge, not just wahyu again. The inform of other cultures. So you need study of foreign language, anthropology, and human sciences. Some understanding and experience covering moral and ethical problems. So if for them is humanities and philosophy, of course, they must be religion. Then some depth, then is specialization. Then I added that what in our case we should have critical understanding of Islamic worldview, cultures, and civilization, and deen and dawlah. So they need to study Islamic worldview and culture. So in other words, there's more actually for Islamization of civilization. But anyway, what I want to point out here is that we have to look back at your university core courses. Are we fulfilling what we want in terms of the good man? That's what Prof Kamal wanted. And that's why you have the CFK. Okay? But then we have now diluted it so much, there's nothing left. So can you be proud of these students? If they don't get the only counterbalance for that is that if Islamization of knowledge, in other words, whatever field they are in, they're specializing, is well done. Is well done. Then maybe they can get balance. Otherwise, they are producing a diluted form of human. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Rosnani Hassan, for your emphasis on Prof. Kamal's approach to integration of knowledge and education. Indeed, I was part of the team in which these issues were discussed, as you rightly point out, from 1983 to 1988, the emphasis was on integration of knowledge as well as integration of education. Since Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman came in December 1998, we began to talk about Islamization of knowledge, and it went on up to Islamization of human knowledge and Islamicization of knowledge. And Prof. Kamal also used another important term, relevantization of Islamic sciences. And Prof. Masrani also rightly pointed out on the role of CFK. She listed 11 courses. In fact, we had more than 30 courses in CFK, and students were given freedom and choices to choose based on their Islamic knowledge. Those who came from non-Islamic background outside of Malaysian universities were required to take certain courses which were basic, and those who came from religious institutions were required to take some advanced level courses. In this way, CFK had maintained a balance between the courses so that the students would be able to take right courses according to their background, knowledge, and orientation. Thank you, Prof. Rosnani, for your thought-provoking speech. Of course, we'll have a lovely discussion, inshallah, after that. Then we come to the third panelist, who is none other than our beloved brother, colleague, friend, Professor Dr. Muhammad Hazizan Noor. Professor Hazizan also is an individual who spent more than 4 decades in our university, and he looks very young until now. Younger than me in many cases. See, he spent 40 more years, and he is working now as Dean of International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, giving his time from 8 until 5. Of course, after 5 also, he sits there and works. And we have to remember, he was also the Dean of the Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman College of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences from 2006 or 5. 2005. And then he was given extension after extension, but this person was so humble, he humbly, patiently asked the university management to release him from the position. He is a man who did not go for any position, such a human being. Alhamdulillah, he's with us. He is an expert of sociology, and he wrote a lot. But I give you a few for our understanding. His publications include Goa Integrated School of Thought in Social Sciences, advancing the International Islamic University's ideas to the next level, published in 2026. So he has provided a model, an integrated model of Islamic thought in social sciences and so on. The second publication is The Future for Knowledge Generators, published in 2025. Another one is Transformative Learning Model for IIM undergraduates, a framework to foster knowledge generation through reflective writing style, 2025. And there are many others. So without further ado, I respectfully call upon Professor Dr. Hazizan Mohd Noor to deliver his speech. Professor Hazizan is very systematic, you know, so he's going to give us 20 minutes. Thank you very much for that.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much, my friend, my old friend, Professor Dr. Tamim Sharma, for a very kind word. I certainly can follow what Professor Kamal used to do when he was highly praised, and he will immediately go to the first and then stop it. Enough.
That is why I was very brief.
Right. The rest of the presentation, as was stated by the previous speakers, because I think I have few points to mention. I'm afraid that if time does not allow me proceed, and some of the clarity of points may not be there. Thank you very much, Department of Sociology and Comparative Religion and Philosophy. I think this is an addition there. And also, of course, Mohd, Ali Mumtaz, for writing. I was given the title Muhammad Kamal Hassan's Project of Islamization of Knowledge and Assessment. So when I look at the word assessment, I was worried because assessment should be conducted in a thorough manner, and I did not have time also to go through all the works of Professor Kamal to enable me to do justice to our towering figure, Professor Kamal. So before that, let me say goodbye, and I pray to Allah to forgive me if whatever I am going to say would not be doing justice to our father, because much of what we say could be based on what we think or what we feel. And what we feel, what we think, would be due to our experience with him and the way we see how close we are and how distant we are from him. So, to be more prudent, I would then ask Allah to forgive for whatever that might be inappropriate in my presentation. I will cover 4 components, 4 headings, 4 themes. Before that, the title I changed. I changed to Muhammad Kamal Hassan on Islamization of Human Knowledge, some highlights and salient features. Some highlights and salient features. I think that will be more manageable to talk about. So I will touch on few points under 5 headings. Let me tell you first what are those headings, what are those themes. Number 1, with regard to Islamization of human knowledge. Number 1, I will talk about the terms, definition, and concept. Yeah? And then there are a few points that I would like to highlight. The second, epistemological foundations. The third, the methodology of Islamization of human knowledge. The fourth, Islamization of the sect. And the fifth, the final one, is what is next? Our roles. I think this will be enough for me to cover. To speak on or to talk about Professor Kamal, whom I know for what our brother mentioned just now, for decades, in 20 minutes, as I said, should be very difficult. So therefore, I just highlighted this. Number 1, on the terms, definition, and concept of Islamization of knowledge. The first point is, in history and in our contemporary time, what we today refer to generally as Islamization of knowledge or eye-opening, like many other concepts, exist both in essence and in form. In other words, in spirit and in letters. The spirit of Islamization might have been there long time ago, depending on how you want to trace that, even to the first time or to the first moment when the first human being was taught names of things. Exactly the knowledge coming from Allah to human being. So that was the starting point for anything that developed after that. If you want to go that far in history to talk about how knowledge is naturally related to the giver of knowledge, there is no. So the term Islamization of knowledge, therefore, exists in both. Now we are using it in letter, in words, but in essence it existed before as well. Islamization of knowledge has been referred to in literature variously as an idea, a concept, an initiative, a mission, a mandate, an agenda, and a project, and others. So the different words, terms used to refer to Islamization of knowledge but have also created a kind of difficulty on our part to really talk about this, because the use of one term may have different implications on how we look at Islamization of knowledge. Islamization of knowledge as an idea, simple idea, is not the same as understanding Islamization of knowledge as a project. That's why I changed it, because I'm not very sure whether Islamization of knowledge in the context of Professor Kamal is really he considered it as a project. But what is clear is in our context, Islamization is a mission. And here is where, this is the pamphlet for Quality Day last night, Quality Culture, on 29th of April 2000. So I bring this as the next one is among the figures associated with Islamization of knowledge are Said Muhammad Naqib al-Abbas, Ismail Raji al-Faruqi, Abdul Hamid al-Sulaiman, and of course, the person that we are talking about today, also Muhammad Kamal Hassan. So I just mentioned it. Muhammad Kamal Hassan prefers the specific term. There are two terms when we talk about Islamization of knowledge. So the word Islamization, though he does not dismiss and reject the use of the term Islamization, but he himself prefers to use the word Islamicization. Islamicization of not only knowledge, of human knowledge. Therefore, if I can read correctly, what he prefers is Islamicization of human knowledge. So that is, there are reasons, so you can refer to the book or to the Islamization policy that was produced and published after 30 years of the university's existence in 2013. Now, Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan considers the Islamization or Islamicization of human knowledge. There are many terms that he uses, but one of which is as an alternative paradigm for pursuing, teaching, and evaluating contemporary human knowledge in accordance with the Islamic worldview, the creed of Tawheed, or oneness of God, and Islamic ethical values. So this is Islamization of knowledge is considered as an alternative paradigm. So I think it has a big implication in terms of operationalizing it at the practical level in our curriculum and so on. Now, why this should be seen also as an alternative paradigm? This paradigm emerges as a response to the crisis of knowledge in modern civilization. So because modern civilization has been dominated by the different paradigms, secular paradigm, with all its implications, and therefore it is only logical that we come up with the other alternative paradigm to overhaul the entire corpus of knowledge. As for the definition and connotations of Islamicization of human knowledge, you can again refer to this on page 29 and 30. But basically, this can be divided into three. Number one is the general definition of Islamization. The second one is Islamization or connotation of Islamization for academic affairs. And the third one is definition and connotation of Islamization for non-academic affairs. there are details in that. Okay, okay, these are the points for theme number 1. Just remind me, you say time is up, then I will stop. Okay, all right. The second theme is epistemological foundations. So there are a few points I want to touch here. Professor Kamal's thought is grounded in an integrated epistemology that blends or harmonizes divine revelation or naqli and human intellect aqli. He criticizes the modern Western worldview for limiting sources of knowledge to sensory experience and reason, thereby rejecting revelation and the unseen. In contrast, Islamic epistemology recognizes 4 sources of knowledge. True reports, meaning revelation, sound intellect, the 5 senses, and spiritual intuition. That's 7 more minutes. Professor Kamal argues that the intellect or aql is not an independent entity meant to challenge God, but it is a spiritual faculty located within the heart, or designed to complement revelation. Therefore, true knowledge must align with the divine purpose of human existence, that is to know and worship Allah, Ubudiyah, and to serve as his vicegerents, Khalifah on earth. The third theme, the methodology. The process of Islamicization of human knowledge involves a critical examination of modern discipline, particularly the social and natural sciences, to identify philosophical foundations that contradict Islamic beliefs. Then in this policy, he has outlined 22 modes of Islamization. So he wants everyone to be in. It is an inclusive project. Whether you have knowledge of Islam or not, come. You have certain role that you can play. So you can look into this. There are 22 modes to choose from that fit your own reality. Yeah? If you are able to construct, by all means. But if you are not, at the lowest level, accept what is useful. Useful knowledge coming from any sources. So that you can look into it. Number 4, Islamization of self. A distinctive feature of Kamal's framework is the centrality of the Islamization of self as a prerequisite for Islamization of human knowledge. So he has used it as prerequisite for Islamization of knowledge. He argues that the human agency responsible for producing knowledge must first undergo a transformation of the self, intellect, and character. Drawing on Al-Ghazali, Professor Kamal stresses the importance of adab and the purification of heart from spiritual diseases. Without a purified self that recognizes its status as a servant of God, the intellect is prone to arrogance, takabbur, which leads to the production of blameworthy knowledge that is detrimental to humanity. And finally, what is next? Obviously, from the previous presentation and the discourses that have been around for many years, in many places, there are lots of issues. Conceptual issues, philosophical issues, methodological issues, implementation issues. Now, they will not it will not be a very easy way of doing it. Therefore, I have proposed 2023 the eventual construction and evolution of what I call the Gombak Integrated School of Thought to allow all this kind of discourses to prevail in a more stable manner so that discussions on the various aspects of Islamization and all the ideals of the university, integration, internationalization, can be more sustainable, can be more continuous. And I think we must make sure that there is a stable platform that ensure the continuous and sustainable discourses on the ideals of the university. Because we do not know who will come in the future and what would be the time of generations. They might have forgotten, for example, what our pioneers have said before if we don't really the kind of things that is what I call the Gombak School of Thought. And this Gombak School of Thought is based really on the 40 years of implementation of the IIUM ideals, Islamization, integration, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So with that, I thank you. Sorry for taking a little bit more time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Dr. Haziza, for your speech, in which you have listed the key points in relation to Prof. Kamal's project of Islamicization of human knowledge. It is true that I was able to hear from Professor Kamal directly on three occasions that those who are engaged in Islamization or Islamicization of human knowledge should first Islamize themselves. And he used the phrase, Islamizing the Islamizers. Remember, Islamizing the Islamizers. So we should Islamize the self, and only Islamization of knowledge will be properly appropriated. Thank you, Prof. Hazidan, for your speech. It has given us to think more, and I'm sure that we have students of our Kuliya in particular, they will be able to understand more of Prof. Kamal's project of Islamicization of human knowledge. Thank you once again, Prof. Dr. Hazidan. Then we come to the climax of our roundtable conference, which will be by Professor Dr. Shukran bin Abdul Rahman. Shukran was also a graduate of this school. He graduated from the Department of Psychology, and he is a practicing psychologist. He has a number of credentials. Yes, he did his first degree in IIUM and PhD also in IIUM. And in between, he migrated to Australia to do his master degree from there. Briefly speaking, Professor Shukran had played many roles as Deputy Dean, Admissions and Records Division, Director of Alumni and Career Services Division, Head Department of Psychology, Deputy Dean of Corporate Strategy and Quality Assurance, Director of Center for Professional Development, Dean of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliya of Islamic Review Knowledge and Human Sciences, and currently he is the Principal Director of Office of Strategic Institution Transformation. And he's also an Associate Research Fellow at National Higher Education Research Institute. And going for his publications, he has numerous, but since the time is very limited, I wish to call upon respectfully Professor Dr. Shukran to deliver his speech, and he will be connecting Tawhidi epistemology, and we will benefit a lot because this is our current focus. Further, Ustad.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sama. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin amma ba'd. Respected Professor Hafiz Zakaria of Ahaskia Hijaz, Dr. Mohd, Deputy Dean of Postgraduate and Research, Dr. Aisha, Deputy Dean of Student Development and Engagement. We also have Head of Research, Dr. Ruby, of this department. Fellow panelists, Mr. Hassan, Dr. Rushdan, Mr. Rostani, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a pleasant afternoon to all of you. Okay, thank you very much, dear friends and students from Department of Usuluddin, Comparative Religion and Philosophy for organizing this very important roundtable discussion. I'm glad to know that this is a roundtable discussion so that there will be notes after this discussion note. I hope that there are rapporteurs taking note, and that note should be sent to the university, so policy especially, because now that we are preparing the path work, the path, the way forward of IUM, down road 2036, 10 years from now, making sure that we stand true to our ethos or to our DNA, right? Yes, we are now living in challenging scenarios, but we have to also stay true to the mission, the visions which were established by our founding fathers, right? So I hope notes from this roundtable would be instrumental, important notes to inform the way we chart our future. Thank you, Professor Rosnani, for perusing the curriculum that we used to have. And I think what you had presented just now is not current, Professor Rosnani. We have a latest one. The latest one, you will see only one IRK post. Correct? Okay. So that is also something that you have to address and see how we could actually compensate to the approach that we currently undertake, which is Tawhidi epistemology. Yeah, the topic given to me is from IOHK to Tawhidi epistemology, as if we are talking about shift, from Islamization of human knowledge to Tawhidi epistemology. Now, I beg to give my opinion here. I think we're not talking about the shift. We're talking about linking. I think have you correctly said just now? We are linking or connecting IOHK and Tawhidi epistemology. Right. So I have a question here. How many of you are clear with the concept of Tawhidi epistemology? Not at all? Nobody? You are clear? All right. So I think using Kipling points or Kipling method, using some English theory here. So what I'm talking about IOHK and Tawhidi epistemology. Why we are talking about this? I think the name of this program is, the name of AHAS program is Inspire, right? Inspire Week. Right? I think being Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy, you are perceived to be an inspirer to the whole university. You are the backbone of this university, as what Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan has always mentioned. Right, so the backbone, the spinal cord of IIUM is this department. Right, so you are providing the what we call sawabit, the sawabit bedrock of knowledge to the whole university community, whether they are students or staff. All right. So who I am addressing now? I'm addressing, I believe, the top management of the Kulia, the departments, the deans, and I think future scholars as well, future intellectual, future scholars, future professionals for the country and also for the globe, for the Ummah and also for the mission. So we do not regard you as student anymore. We regard you as, in addition to learners, you are also nation and ummatic builder or ummah builder for that matter. So this concept of Tawhidi epistemology is mentioned in our constitution actually. It is not something new. That is mentioned in our vision, in our mission, in our education philosophy, and those are all back in our constitution. Right? So systemization of knowledge, integration of knowledge, relevantization of knowledge are processes. And how do we link those two? So that is my role. Right? So I hope the audience can fully utilize this platform for you to digest what we mean by IOHK and what do we mean by Tawhidi paradigm or Tawhidi approach. I think we have this with us here, Dr. Medawat. She's no longer here. I think she has helped the Kulia last time to understand what Tawhidi paradigm or Tawhidi approach is all about. Right? I'm not a direct student of Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan. I've not been in his class, but I've been working with him. I've been listening to his lecture. I've been traveling with him as well, through which I've learned a lot from him. I've traveled with him to South Africa, about 18-hour journey to Mohd, to Thailand, to Bosnia. Throughout the journey, we learned a lot from Muhammad Hassan. And throughout my deanship as well, I received call from him, received note from him, his content advice. And you have no idea of how happy I was to receive a message or call from Professor Muhammad Hassan. I would smile for 3 days, reading his message or his notes, which is full of advice on how should I navigate the Kulia. Especially in making sure that students, staff are clear why they are in IIUM. They are not in other universities. They are in a unique higher education institution. Right? So that he had conceptualized. And he wants us to continue working on what he had conceptualized. So I hope this Inspire Week will actually remind us, will inspire us to continue working on what he has aspired us to do. Right? So turning the inspiration to realize the aspiration of Muhammad Hassan, inshallah. All right. So I've mentioned about the need to have notes from this RTD, the need to stand true to our ethos, and I think the takeaway from this roundtable is important for us to strengthen our Islamization of knowledge. Right. So we're talking about Islamization of knowledge. So the subject here is knowledge. The process to Islamize knowledge first require us to understand what Islamization process is, in addition to knowing what knowledge is all about as well. Now that our emphasis is on Tawhidi epistemology. Okay, so I would like to underscore a point that in order to Islamize knowledge, we need to understand the property of knowledge. We need to know the property of knowledge. In order to beautify our house, we have to know what does our house contain? What does our house has or have? Right? So what do we have in knowledge? The focus now is on epistemology. But listening to Dr. Megawati last time, she was helping us to understand the property of knowledge, the Megawati, I'm using your notes here, right? So by referring to knowledge, we need to know the dimensions, the philosophical dimensions of knowledge. What are the philosophical dimensions of knowledge? And how do we Islamize it? And where do we apply Tawheed there? So there are a number of key words here. Tawheed, epistemology, knowledge. And there come for you Tawheedic epistemology. Tawheed is one idea, Tawheedic epistemology is another idea. Sometimes people confuse by actually talking about Tawheed when we are actually talking about Tawheedic epistemology. The subject matter here is epistemology. But this subject matter epistemology is given an adjective, is modified by one adjective which is Tawheedic. Right? So I think this is the job of this department, right? To enlighten people of what Tawheed is and what Tawheedic epistemology is all about. So what is Tawheed? I mean, I'm working, on paper, okay, talking about the concept of Tawheed, Ahad, and Wahid. Right, so we have checked in the Quran, there is no mention of the word Tawheed, am I right? The word Tawheed is not mentioned in the Quran. Only Ahad and Wahid. But the whole Quran is to Tawheed. Is to affirm the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So here comes the word Tawheed epistemology. Epistemology which is subjected to Tawheedic process. I think Tawheedic now is an English word. Right? The root word is Tawheed, that you are unifying knowledge. You are unifying the property of knowledge. You are unifying the property of knowledge with purpose. So in our lecture on Tawheedic epistemology, here we tend to define it as God conscious, God driven, God purpose, unification of knowledge. We unify knowledge for the purpose of affirming the greatness, oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's one thing. Right? So the other process is to integrate knowledge. Right? Just now Professor Hassan mentioned about sources of knowledge. So epistemology talk about the sources of knowledge. What are the sources of knowledge that we have to deal with? First is Quran and Sunnah, the revelation, one source. And that is not all. The first verses in the Quran talk about the Quran. Go read by observing. Right? So we learn methodology to correctly do observation. So our second source of knowledge is empirical source. Empirical source. So we unify empirical source with real sources. Not only that, Professor Ibrahim Zain, when we sought his help last time, came to enlighten us on the other source of knowledge, which is the scholar's view, then the intellect's view. In the view of scholars, we unify, we integrate knowledge from the scholars with the empirical work of others and also with the revelation as well. And the last one is local wisdom, the local culture, the context of time and space where we operate. Right? So this is what Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan said, mutaghayyirat. So we have to combine sawabit and mutaghayyirat. In IUM, students have to be equipped with the sawabit. So this is why we have the CFK. This is why we have usuluddin. This is why we have the ethic. This is why we have the fiqh. So these are the sawabit. But the current, curriculum, Professor Rusnani, has seen the departure of two important, subjects. And we hope that these two subjects will be embedded in other courses through the approach of Tawheedic epistemology. Right? So we can unify other core courses with these courses that have departed from FT or FT courses. All right. So I think you can refer to these slides later on. I'm only picking some of the points. Yes, I have 7 more minutes. Right, so today marked an important event for the university. And I think this is also a day which reminds us on the importance of standing true to our ethos. which is Tawhidi paradigm, which are Islamization, integration, and implementation. Why today? Today we celebrate the 43rd anniversary of IBM. IBM was established 43 years ago. To be specific, the 20th of May 1983, and we celebrate the 43rd anniversary date in our main hall just now. All right. So the vision of the university said that inspired by the worldview of Tawhid and Islamic philosophy of the unity of knowledge and holistic education. So our education process, our pedagogy, our research, our publication have to anchor on this Tawhidic paradigm. What are the paradigm? What are the paradigm? Okay, so maybe you can look at the paradigm in simple terms. We're not using the philosophical dimensions which we used to talk about last time, but remember the equal paradigm, the epistemology, the ontology, the axiology, and the teleology. You can read these logies mentioned or outlined by Professor Kamal Hassan in his paper. He has a paper which he deliberates the importance of unifying all these philosophical dimension. So in IIM, we do not only talk about subject matter without talking about where they come from, their sources. Right? So the real reality of subject matter that is substantiated by your references to revelation, real sources, to empirical work, to scholars' view, and also to the local culture. So the origin of research. Right? So the secular paradigm, okay, focus on fragmented nature, reductionist approach, right? But in IIUM, so we unify inputs that we source from various sources of knowledge, right? So the word Tawhidi epistemology, they require us to Tawhidize, if we can use the word, Tawhidize input that you have from various sources of knowledge, realizing or acknowledging that all knowledge comes from one source, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, second is the subject matter. In order to understand this world, being a Khalifa, right? We have to manage this world. To manage this world, we cannot use only one knowledge. We cannot only master one knowledge. We have to integrate all knowledge. We have to work with people of other knowledge, with other scholarship as well. So subject matter is addressed not in silo, but in unified manner as well. Right? So this is at the ontological level. Role of educator. Okay? We do not only do education in IIUM, we also do tarbiyah. I mean, the term that the literature uses is edification. We edify as well. We mold character. We mold character of students or learners who come to study with us or from us. Okay, so that we can nurture what? Intellectual, scholars, professionals. Right? So quoting from some colleagues just now, we have enough corrupted people out there in the job market. We must not breed more. Right? We must not breed more. This is why values is important. Right? So tarbiyah process in IIM doesn't only happen in classroom, but total system. The usrah system, mahalah system are designed to do edification, to do tarbiyah process. We have enough of corrupted, like, sometimes we say that in Malay, okay, our role here is to produce sarjana muda and sarjana, not durjana, right? Yeah, so we have enough durjana out there. So our task here, our responsibilities here, okay, is to make sure that we nurture sarjana muda and poor. Right? And the last dimension, last philosophical dimension is the purpose, the maqasid of knowledge. Why do they come and study from us? Right? So IIM was established because we believe that the quality of life among Ummah could be better, to be made better through education process. That is the purpose. That is the telos. That is the teleology. Right? So when we do research, when we do publication, when we teach students, this is the paradigm. We have to unify all this. You do not talk about the method only, you do not only talk about subject matter, you have to also talk about values, talk about the utility or use of the subject. Right, so this is a reminder for us teachers. This is also a reminder to all learners, so that when you learn something, you have to make sure that you have captured these 4 dimensions. This is Tawhidic paradigm. This is Tawhidic paradigm. So in IIM, so this is your DNA as well. When you go out to other places, naturally, when people ask you to address or to talk about something, you will address a subject from Islamic perspective as well. Now you can go beyond, talk about values, talk about the purpose of you having such knowledge as well. All right. So yes, another important point that Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan mentioned, I think he was the one who wrote the mission. Mission number 2 talk about nurturing better quality ISP, nurturing better quality intellectuals, scholars, and professionals. And how do we nurture better quality intellectuals, scholars, and professionals? Yeah, this is our task as teacher. This is our task as leaders of this university, to make sure that our curriculum, our pedagogy, our environment, our ecosystem would provide that climate. Now, sometime during Professor Muhammad Kamal Hassan's time, they would ask questions like this. Okay, what is the position of minor, major, in the kuliah? We always want to make sure that the original formula of FLA which is still there, right? So he must not be a faculty of Islamic studies like other Islamic faculty of Islamic studies, or we must not be other faculty of humanities like other faculty of humanities. Okay. Can we go to this next slides? I want to focus on the Sawabit and Mutawajirat. I think this is something that we regard as his wasila, something that he mentioned to us sometime before he left us. Furthermore, towards the end. They're producing holistic students, the balance of principles and reality. So we have to equip our students with permanent principles, grounding in divine guidance, their foundational Islamic ethics, and unshakable worldview. Backdrop, right? So we have to provide them with backdrop. So whoever wants to become graduate or alumni of IIM must go through this process of being equipped with Tawadi. And who is supposed to do this, or who are tasked to do this? Ahaskia teachers. Yeah, fits now. Mutawairat. Yes, we must not glorify the past. We must not say that we were better last time. Okay, past is past. We have to move forward. Forward has, more expectations from us. Right? So even the country now wants to know what more can we do. Then to develop the nation and to develop the Ummah. Right? So competence in navigating modern challenges, technological shifts, and contemporary society. So education process in IIM is to nurture individuals who can possess intellectual competencies, who also have spiritual integrity, moral character, social responsibility. So these are the sawabit to navigate to the modern world. Then this is the mutawayirat. Right, so with that, and thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Shukran, for your speech on linking Tawhidic epistemology with Islamization of human knowledge. The time is very limited. Otherwise, we would have given more time So I'm really sorry for limiting the time of my colleagues who are the panelists today. Kindly apologize me for reminding you to end your speech within 20 minutes because we want to give more time for our students to ask questions and understand the philosophical dimensions of this particular roundtable conference, focusing on Prof. Kamal's comprehensive excellence. Professor Dr. Shukran, during his speech, mentioned one thing, which is the uniqueness of this university, as well as the uniqueness of the Kulliyah of Islamic Living Knowledge and Human Sciences. I remember Prof. Kamal saying that don't compare this university with any other universities in the world. And he said, and I recall, and I quote, we are not duplicating Harvard or Oxford, nor we are duplicating Al-Azhar, Al-Madina, Al-Munawwara, but we are unique. So when he coined the word leading the way, which is mentioned in the lyrics of the university song, he had this in his mind. We lead the way means we're not following the ways of other institutions of higher learning in the West, or in the West, or in the East, or in the even Muslim world. So he wanted to maintain, and that is why you look at our curriculum. You look at the names of the kulliyas. You look at the names of the hostels. These are all unique. Nowhere in the Arab world, mahalla is used for hostel. They use Sakanul Jamia or Iskanul Jamia. They don't use the word. Nowhere in the world, kulliya is used. Only they use faculty. And then again, Professor Kamal was also advising us not to use the word Islamic studies. Islamic studies is a term coined by the Orientals, Professor Kamal repeatedly asserted. And that is why when the Kulliya was named, there was a debate, and finally they ended up with not imitating the West or the East to name the Kulliya. So our Kulliya was named Kulliya of Islamic Review Knowledge, and not social sciences, but human sciences. Of course, we have a lot to discuss, but the time is very limited. So with this, I thank all my panelists once again for their remarkable presentations. And then now we come to question and answer session. Please identify yourself, ask a brief question, don't make a long comment, because we want to give opportunity for all the people who are here physically, and also we have hundreds of participants in Zoom. They also can ask questions. So please, you are welcome.
No.
Maybe Amir, you have something to comment? So please, I welcome Brother Amir Ali, the second batch of this university. He graduated in 1988. Prof. Kamal Hassan's student. Please come.
Thank you, Prof, very much. Very touched because people from Mumtaz would okay, I just came here. A graduate who is already senior citizen.
Don't look like senior.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for allowing me to come here. Question. Then, thank you very much. There are a few things that I just would like to touch. One, I just wonder if the video is now had some pictures at the section 16 of Kalendaya, where we actually studied. Prof. Kamal, I still remember, I think all of you now, students, you just came in without interview. I came in 84, but before that I was interviewed. And I was interviewed done at the and from him I knew who was actually Amir Ali. My father is actually from here. My mother, I didn't know my name was after who. He showed me and he asked me some questions. Okay, I want this. I'm not, after completing my study, I decided not to be an academic. I decided to be a practitioner. And I see that, then I see why Prof. Kamal was emphasizing on Islamization instead of Islamization. You can make things Islam, but it will not be universal. In Malaysia, currently 58% Muslims, the others are non-Muslims. How can you make them Islam? That is through conversion. But when you talk about the discipline, I'm in the finance. I was farm manager before. So Islamization is a better term when you go into the industry. How you Islamize it, how you make fund management Islamic, that was my area. And so on and so forth. And then I also would like to touch on the IRT subject. I was the second batch. My daughter is now here, final year, final semester. And I was actually shocked to see that she was not asked to take many IRT subjects. During my time, I was told by UKM students, the UKM graduates who did law, no need to mention names, that the 11 IRT subject we took are equivalent to advanced diploma in Islamic studies from UKM. So by graduating, you are actually graduating post. I graduated BBA first batch and advanced diploma. And my friend, I came from St. John's before the MRC at Seremban, probably. My friend in University of Malaya, they did 3 years economics, in UIE 4 years. I asked Professor Zerosman why. He said, we want to meet you people person, not just a graduate. Inside. Okay, then I also would like to touch on Ibadah camp. My daughter doesn't have good thing. But when I was a student, I had Ibadah camp every semester. And I still remember, Halakha is differently. Halakha is differently. And then I still remember the first batch for the final Ibadah camp, they did it in 46.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there. I got to see a little bit about that. Second batch, my batch, it was in Prolam. And that was community service. Just now, I mean, I heard about, you're talking about, okay. So just now, Prof was talking about here for the student and staff. At that time, already about talking for the people. I think we can also talk about UIE serving Gombak people. I mean Gombak. And then okay. When I was there, together for Tamim was there. I was there as a virtue because I was Secretary General of the Student Rep Council. This is the message given by Prof. Kamal to me. Please, when you graduate, you cannot just leave your university. Just take a certificate and then you go elsewhere to find a job. No. The alumni is very important. So that was my first thing to do. as SRC section. But the alumni, we decided at that time not to be registered under ROS, but under the umbrella of UIA as the SRC, UNM Student Association at that time. But now I do not know what happened to the alumni. But one thing which he told us is that you are the Khalifa of IIU. I mean, don't equate Khalifa to what. You are Khalifa, you are our representative to do changes of. And to tell you frankly, it's not easy. 38 years in the industry, it's not easy. And he even said that there must be a platform for the students going out to come back and discuss with the lecturers here issues, how to Islamicize out there, discuss with the lecturers, discuss with your contemporaries, etc., so that you can find solutions. But this is what I see, until I retire. But alhamdulillah, I always see, whenever I had opportunity, I see my lecturer. The Prof. Kamal taught me more than one subject. Out of the 11, more than one subject. And he never allowed me to call him fancy. And that's it. I think enough. If others also want to see it. But I hope some of the things that he was hoping for, especially graduates, you said graduates, you can't just throw them out there and leave him alone. They need to be guided as well to come back so that the lectures here, you know a lot of philosophical, etc. They have a lot of some issues in implementation. So hopefully that we can do something. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Brother Amir Ali, for your observation and information that you received directly from Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan. I remember Prof. Kamal, although we had in CFK more than 33 courses, he preferred to teach a course called The Philosophy of Islamic Ethics. Almost all students who have graduated from 1986 to 90 have taken this course, The Philosophy of Islamic Ethics, from you. Yes, next. Yes, sorry. I will come to you, Dr. Majdan, please. Okay, we start with you.
Thank this mention. Really thankful to our professor that in spite of we actually high operations, frank operation in 1 month ago. Okay. And I noticed that she was struggling reading the notes from distance. Inshallah, may Allah bless you. My quick observation is actually, I remember when we were given the position of assistant lecturers, also then after that, becoming lecturers after we completed our PhD. All the IRK lecturers, they must take diploma in human sciences. And all the lecturers from human sciences must take diploma in IRK. I think this practice should be continued. It is very important because what I noticed that recently, this is my observation, even lecturers from IRK do not, the young ones, not so clear about what we are what our target or our vision. It's not clear. Or they also, the human sciences lecturer, the new one also, it's not clear to them. So they brought all things that they had previously and try to apply it here. And we have our vision and mission, and all things become in the end changeable. We do not know what is our objective, our vision, our mission is not clear. These things needs to be addressed actually to the higher authorities. That is one thing. Another thing is that regarding this, what was mentioned just now by Mr. Amir, I was contacting him before this. Thank you so much. Regarding this Usra and Murabbi Murid system, it must be strengthened. We must look into this seriously, because if we actually have no chance of no opportunity to go into this Islamization issue through process, why not we make it through our Murabbi Murid system? Because we don't have that opportunity to choose students. It is given by the higher education, isn't it? By the education minister, they are the one that chose and chose the student for us. But why not we use that platform, Murabbi Murid platform? We train our lecturers to be able to become Murabbi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Majdan, for your comments. Truly speaking, when Professor Kamal Hassan mentioned that we are unique, we asked, what do you mean by that we are unique? He replied, we have Ibadah camp for every semester, which is attended by all IIUM students. And we have a weekly halakha with a prescribed syllabus. And these two non-formal educational programs were never offered in any international universities, including the Arab Muslim world. And that is why we are unique. So if we want to claim that we are unique, as Dr. Majdan rightly put it, we should revisit what we had before, and we should try to work to revive those institutions, inshallah. Thank you very much. Professor Shukran is with us. He has initially mentioned that you make everything, that his office will look into it. Doctor, please.
Thank you.
Please be brief, Doctor. We have only 20 minutes, please.
Best be as possible. Now, first of all, my idea is that, and also what I had in my mind is that we don't have a center anymore. I think university needs center. During the time of Al-Atas, he considered Islamic center of knowledge. And maybe in UAE, there's somewhere a center, a searching for center again. But where should center be? I think we're talking in the Department of Philosophy or in human sciences or somewhere else. Wherever the faculty that we can find the center. I just want to ask if there are many people, but where is it? It's a big center.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Any other question? Yes, Dr. Hamidun, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. A lot of things to say about Kamal, although I would say that to me he's another brother, advisor, and so on and so forth. First met him on 10th of July, was interviewed by him after Amir Sulaiman for about 2 hours. But anyway, that's a full story. But I'm sorry I was not here the whole time, but I would like if we're mentioning a lot, and nobody can deny about the academic worth of our local professor. But what about, if we study the qualities of our Imam Malik, Shafi, and so on and so on, people are thinking about their azama or their keagungan or their being giant in thoughts and so on and so forth. But then you read in Manatib, you see that they are not only in the mind, but the characters. So
My question is there any character that really make Professor Kamal a giant in the sense, not only in the mind, but also in terms of the value, the character that he brought to others? Thank you.
Can anyone answer? Maybe Professor Hassan would like to say that. Or okay, please.
What character? What experience did you get? If he really is concerned about moral character, integrity. Once join department, get lecturer, read something that is not ethically correct with the students. I didn't know the consequences. It was important and was investigation and how come out the decision was that should expel. To that extent, I was shocked because not extent, right? But what the decision made, in other words, was very concerned about integrity and character. He doesn't want to punish the character of the university among students as well. So it's unfortunate that that brothers of ours, sorry, he didn't label you out. So because they are will never forget. But it was were very strict with us.
Thank you very much for Dr. Nani. Prof. Nani has rightly mentioned that Prof. Kamal was very much concerned about the character of a student as well as an academic staff. I remember in the Kulia of Islamic Reviewing Knowledge and Human Sciences, when I was deputy dean, 2 or 3 academics were dismissed and they were asked to leave the country within 24 hours because they were found to be morally unacceptable to the university. So Prof. Kamal wanted every individual in this university with good akhlaq. Yes, good sir. But we'll answer them.
Okay, I think with regard to the characteristics, there are many good ones, noble ones of Professor Hassan. I choose to highlight 3. Number 1 is humble, is very humble person. In respect to those, respect to others, right? So I think there are many examples. I think you have experienced it yourself. And second one is attention to detail. Right, so he attends to details, very attentive to detail. The word choice, sentence structure, grammar especially, and I think I'm very fortunate and lucky to have my work being vetted by Professor Mohd Kamal Hassan. And he is both task oriented and human oriented, right? And he is not only task oriented, and if at all we do something not correct, he would politely, tell us that we should go in a different. So I think that is task orientation plus human orientation both. It's very difficult to do one. So plus then
Thank you, Professor Sukran. Any question? Yes. Something, okay, then we come to you.
Okay, just Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much. It was a very wonderful, insightful session about Prophet Hassan. Just to share with you my personal experience with him. When I was the head of the department for almost 1 year, I met him, in the masjid, and because now people start to worship the position, not to worship the knowledge, to appreciate the knowledge. So when he was director, everybody used to go and meet him, but when he became nobody cared about him. So that moment when I was there, I just met him and he was complaining about his extension of being with the university. So that time, then I called them as being the head of the department, and they asked me, no, he has to fulfill the KPI. I said, how come you are putting this condition on a person? He was very sick during that time, we know. And he said, how can I get this amana? That is very impressive when he's talking about amana. He said, this is the money that I'm going to take. I'm not able to serve properly. And how can I feed myself? And all this is considered as haram. So this is very important. How can we, and I mentioned previously, how can you dismiss a person who is one of the founders of this university? And they said, this is the rules that we apply to everyone. Then I said, okay, if that is the case, then this is your, I mean, how you view and how you look at Prof. Kamal Hassan. So I can say that this humbleness, I mean, that is my very short, brief understanding about Prof. Kamal in this experience. Maybe others know him differently, but it's very impressive when you look at the character. So that is very important. We are not here to cheat at people, or this is translated what I understand. So I believe that this should be taken seriously, because I think we have a trend even in our university that we don't respect each other as we are. We respect you when they have a position, the position is gone, nobody cares about them. So this is like Morabi concept should come back to action. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fatimi. Yes. Brother.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. About I have a question, I think, maybe a follow-up from the character question as well. Because the discussion is about comprehensive excellence, which to me sounds also contemporary excellence, new challenges, current challenges as well. And also on behalf of perhaps the younger generation and the students, I was really wondering, and sometimes me and my wife, she's from this department, we talk about it as well. There's a, increasingly we have to start thinking about new forms of relationships between colleagues and so on. But more importantly, for the students and for us, I would call it a relationship with technology. Either on our own or we use it for other people and so on. Of course, from Kamal, I think I would have failed his class, to be honest. I was just wondering if any of the abang-abang or kakak-kakak can maybe share a bit. What was his relationship with technology, and then maybe possibly guess maybe an advice that he would have given or told us as how to navigate this new emerging contemporary should be comprehensive reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother. Yes. Any other questions? Yes, brother. I think we can take 2-3 questions together, and then we'll ask panelists. Yes, please. Can you identify yourself?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. My name is Mohd. I'm a graduate, currently still LV. I want to ask to Prof. Hassan about what would, if there any term or your discussions about inclusive education for those disabled students or community between from Almarhum Kamal Hassan. Is there any thoughts or opinions about this? And maybe what do you think about because I thought that this kind of approach or inclusive education right now is more relevant because there's a lot of upcoming issues. There's a PhD, there's autism students here. I imagine those are neurodevelopmental issues. So I want to know about that. Okay, thank you.
Can we ask the panelists to respond when we come? Good. First, I would like to answer. She discussed this.
From my experience with Kamal or Kamal, yeah, we have not had any discussion on that first. But later on, in the early stage, but later on, I think they see it. Put up maybe a strong stand on helping the disabled, as you can see, according to simplification, regards to the we have not those tasks. And then a lot of facilities for the disabled. So I think it is a university project. I don't know when in because for Kamal we have to be on the for best organization of 2015. I think it was under the same rector. I was given a task to produce I get a research grant of 300,000 ringgit. Like I can get research grant of 300,000 as a condition, you know. So that's why when I heard from Kamal, I was also disappointed. But that shouldn't be the way we treat our, as you said, our elders who are founders of the university. So I was surprised. Anyway, there was no such discussion on inclusive education at that point in the early stage. But I think because we had a strong island with leadership, Rosita, and we now very strong foundation for the disabled. Okay. So,
I think that Rosita was also a student at first. Yeah, I think she was a student at first.
First batch.
Yes. Yes.
First batch.
First batch, okay. She was a student of Professor Kamal Hassan. And she's leading this center. Any answer? Any response? Okay, any question?
I mean, yeah, at this point.
Okay, Professor, sure. Are you okay?
You were asking about how this Professor Mohd Hassan prepared deal with challenges. So, this boundary scenario, and you mentioned technology. I think there are two words that he mentioned, and we cited and wrote an article about that. Just on the importance of putting our community, especially our students, staff here, who are agents of change before development, to have this someone with someone, the constant, the values that which is supposed to regulate our actions, our thinking, our emotion when we deal with temptations, when we deal with challenges, when we deal with demands, right? So we should be regulated internally. We should be reinforced from within, not being we don't want ourselves to succumb to temptation. I mean, to Hassan yang ditulis, he wrote a book, right? I think he has written a book on corruption, right? I think that spells out how we should position ourselves in the increasingly changing world of work, world of life as well, right? So as educator, as morality, I think it's our responsibility to nurture our students, not only with subject matters, but with the values as well. Right? So if we are addressing any concept, principle, theories, right? So we have to also address values which should accompany, we should come together, get in the subject or in the subject matter or in the right? So this is what he mentioned. So that with that somewhat you give whatever variables from the on your right, you can solve. Right? And this is what he worried as well. He mentioned in our discussion with him on academics who come back from Orient, whether from Arab countries or from Western countries. Right? So his view was those who are being trained outside IIUM, they are trained with methodology in Egypt or in Saudi or in Australia or in the US or in the UK. But how do we reorientate them with this integration, relevantization, and Islamization? So he underscored the importance of retraining. That's why I think Dr. Majidan, you are right. The program that diploma of human sciences diploma IRK is important for this to be refreshed. Now, although I graduated from the Bachelor of IRK and then continued with Bachelor of Sciences, then I went abroad for my Doctor of Psychology. When I came back, Professor Kamal Hassan made us enroll in diploma in IRK again before we were left. Right? So yeah, that was my response.
Thank you very much for the Quran.
The diploma of Islamic studies, which was the requirement for all staff is now Islamic background as income postgraduate diploma in Islamic study and internal program for
Academic staff, right? And people have forgotten about it. So when I came to St. Louis, I asked MSD, is it still a requirement? They said yes. So we have restarted PGDIS since 2 years ago. Last year we have about 40 candidates. This year is still coming. It will be continuing. We can discuss on however it's going to be. And this year we were advised by KCA to make the PGDIS to become MQA recognized. So now we have to have our external and all this sort of thing. This is number one. Number two, we are mentioning about things that have lost. But I would like to remind our staff and students, you can be shuhada, you can be witnesses to this. I'm not sure if you look back at the contract that we signed. You student put up your right hand in your ta'aruf, right? Bay'ah. We staff is the thing that we signed the document. Academic staff in the words that was written by Prof. Kamal, that should deal with the student as scholars. No such thing as degrading the notes of your lecturers and so on. You must be avant-garde. You must be reading the journals to know what to bring to the student. This is as scholars. And should be concerned with the holistic development of the student as Murabis. This is what we have signed for. We as academic staff signed for. So this, I think we should remember that. Perhaps our weaknesses in following up on this, but which we can make up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tato. I am reminded to end our session at 1, but I can give you one last chance for one question from any student in the hall or on the Zoom. Any student, postgraduate students of the Department of Sociology and Comparative and Philosophy. Do you have any question? This is the best opportunity. We have eminent professors who have a huge experience with Prof. Kamal's thoughts. Yes, brother. Yes.
My name is Kamal. My name is Kamal. I am from Prosperity recently. My question is first regarding the Islamic citation, quite interested. It's a term that's coined by Muhammad Hassan. Why should I read? I want to know more about this recitation. And also, if it's fine, why didn't we see the use in academic writing on the topic of citation? Yeah, I think that's a question.
Okay. Prof. Hassan is the right person to answer this question.
Okay, on the term Islamization, we have developed this, what we call RAM policies and guidelines on Islamization. 2030 is after 30 years of the establishment of the university. So I think this document is comprehensive enough to find it. I read the part that you have that is relevant to you on page 12 or 13. The use of the term Islamization of human knowledge. Although the phrase Islamization of human knowledge is in the Constitution, it does not exclude the use of another word, Islamicization, to refer to the same mission. The word Islamicization is derived from adjective Islamic, while the word Islamization is derived from the verb Islamize. To Islamize or to Islamicize is to make something Islamic, which means, among others, to be in accordance, in harmony, or agreeable with the values and norms of Islam, even if it is the product or the practice of non-Muslim peoples, cultures, societies, systems, or civilizations. So it means it is more universal, because to produce something Islamic is not necessarily to be done only by Muslims, like what is done in, for example, Islamic banking in Denmark and so on. So the word Islamic is to produce products or whatever that is Islamic, based on Islamic worldview and principles and so on. So I would advise all of us to have this, and this is available in soft copy. You can download it from Center for Islamization. I do not know whether we have heard about even this book, the policy. How many of you have heard about the policy? How many of you have this? Yes. Yeah, it can be made, or it can be sent to all, because this is in soft copy. So all staff have 100, whatever number of staff we have, they can easily have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Azizan Mohd. In fact, Professor Azizan was instrumental to producing this IAM policies, although Prof. Kamal was the main author, because this was produced when Azizan was the director of CENTRIS, which is Center for Islamization. He was the founding director of CENTRIS. I have forgotten to mention because of the time limit. I do not know whether I can give you, can you be very brief? As a special case, very brief, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khairan for the opportunity. I came in as a visitor to this forum. I've been invited by Dr. Musiri to come here. Actually, my question is just that I want to know what efforts scholars here, professors, emeritus professors, and so on are making towards Islamizing the use of AI tools in research writing. That's one. Then secondly, how would scholars make efforts to ensure that AI tools, its use in research writing does not replace researchers' intellect while trying to write? What are those efforts? Thank you.
Thank you very much, brother, for your question. What I understand is the university has established a new center called Tawhidi Epistemology Artificial Intelligence Center. Now, I'm sure this center will take note of what you have raised, but if our panelists have anything to respond, there is a center. It's a new center. It has been launched. and the director has been appointed. I met the director, and she had asked us to cooperate and collaborate with the center. Inshallah, I will bring specifically your question to the director of that new center. Okay, thank you very much for your question. Now, we have come to the end of our roundtable discussion on Muhammad Kamal Hassan and the quest for comprehensive excellence. Before I pass over microphone to the MC, let me once again thank our eminent professor, associate professor Muhammad Rushdan, Professor Dr. Usnani Hashim, Professor Hazizan Mohammad Noor, and Professor Dr. Shukran, also Professor Dr. Kafi Zakaria, and many others who are not seen by me directly because they are somewhere here and there hiding, and also Dr. Hamidun, the director of current centuries, and also my colleagues and students. I thank you all very much for your presence, for your patience, for your perseverance. We have benefited a lot. In fact, the head of the department, Dr. Majidan, has told me yesterday, we will compile the speeches of these four scholars and then publish with some more additional writings. With this, I'm passing over the microphone to Sister Mona Siddiqui, the MC. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Kamil Mushama, for moderating the discussion. As an expression of our deep gratitude, we would love to present some tokens of appreciation for our esteemed panelists. May I now invite Professor Dr. Hafiz bin Zakaria, Dean of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman, Kuliah of Islamic Legal Knowledge and Human Sciences, to present the tokens of appreciation. Professor Dr. Hafiz will be accompanied by Assistant Professor Dr. Majdamin Alias, Head, Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion and Philosophy, and Professor Dr. Muhammad Mumtaz Ali, Head of the RKUD Postgraduate Seminars and Islamization Committee. It is our honor to invite Professor Dr. Hazizan Mahnoun to come forward to receive a token of appreciation. Ask Professor Dr. Hazizan to please remain at the front. Thank you. Next, we kindly invite Professor Dr. Shukran bin Abdul Rahman to come forward. We now have the pleasure of inviting Professor Emerita Dr. Rosnani Hashim to receive her token of appreciation. May I now invite Professor Dr. Mohd to come forward to receive a token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Next, we kindly call upon Professor Dr. Tamim Sharma to come forward. May I invite Assistant Professor Dr. Majda bin Alias to present a token of appreciation, Professor Dr. Hafiz bin Zakaria. Thank you, Professor Dr. Hafiz bin Zakaria, Assistant Professor Dr. Majda bin Alias, Professor Dr. Mohd for presenting the tokens of appreciation to the panelists. We are truly happy and grateful to have all the great minds and thinkers who share their perspectives and ideas with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now be seated for us to continue the remaining of our event. Let us now place our hands in prayer. We have invited Assistant Professor Dr. Zainal Ibn Abdul Malik to recite the Quran.
الحمد لله رب العالمين من الآمنين والشاكرين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويدافع نقمه ويكافئ مزيدا. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك الكريم وعظيم سلطانك. اللهم وصل وسلم وزد وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. O Allah, most merciful, most compassionate, we gather today with hearts full of gratitude, humility, and remembrance. We remember your servant, Emeritus Professor Tan Sri Dr. Muhammad Kamal Hassan, a scholar, a teacher, a leader, murabbi, and sincere servant of knowledge. O Allah, we remember his tireless efforts, his deep love of knowledge, his service to the Ummah, and his meaningful contribution to shaping the vision and mission of IIUM. Accept from him every sincere sacrifice, every lesson he taught, every word of wisdom he shared, every student he guided, and every seed of goodness he planted. O Allah, shower his soul with your mercy, forgiveness, blessings, and light. Elevate his rank among the righteous. Expand his resting place with peace, and grant him the highest place in paradise. O Allah, let his knowledge continue to benefit generations. Let his legacy continue to inspire IIUM, its leaders, scholars, staff, and students to uphold Tawheed, Adab, justice, mercy, and comprehensive excellence. O Allah, bless his beloved family with patience, strength, and peace. Reward them with their love, sacrifices, and support. Bless also his companions, colleagues, friends, and students who worked with him, learned from him, and continue to carry his mission. O Allah, bless this gathering. Make it not only a moment of remembrance, but a moment of renewal. Guide us to revisit the mission of Islamization of human knowledge with honesty, wisdom, and courage. To recognize where we have succeeded, where we have fallen short, and what must now be done. O Allah, let the legacy of Prof. Kamal Hassan live not only in our speeches, but in our actions, not only in our memories, but in our classrooms, research, leadership, character, and service to others. O Allah, we also remember our brothers and sisters in many parts of the world who are suffering from war, oppression, hunger, displacement, fear, and loss. Protect the innocent, heal the wounded, feed the hungry, shelter the displaced, comfort the grieving, and grant peace, freedom, and justice to the oppressed. O Allah, forgive us, guide us, unite us, and accept our gathering today. Grant us goodness in this world, goodness in the hereafter, and protect us from all harm. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا منا ولا معنا شقيا ولا محروما. اللهم إنا نسألك خير هذا اليوم وفتحه ونصره ويسره وسروره وبركته ورزقه ونوره ومعافاته وهداه. اللهم إنا ضعفاء فقوي في رضاك ضعفنا وخذ إلى الخير بنواصينا واجعل الإسلام منتهى رضائنا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
May our discussions for today be full, thought-provoking, and more importantly, may they draw us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Dear beloved guest, please rise for the IIUM anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, the RIUM anthem, Leading the Way, has accompanied the journey of RIUM students and staff for decades. For our students, it marks the beginning, the growth, and completion of their university journey. It was sung when they first entered IIUM with hopes and ambition alight in the heart, and it continued to echo through their participation in forums, events, gatherings, and award ceremonies. And it was sung once more on their convocation day in the very same halls where the journey was began. For academic staff, the anthem gives meaning to their noble role as murabbi, educators, who nurture not only the minds but also character, faith, discipline, courage, honesty, passion, and a sense of responsibility. It reminds them of their duty to shape a new generation of murid who are prepared to serve the Khalifa and contribute to the betterment of the world. For administrative staff, the anthem affirms their vital role in supporting the Murabbi Murid system and the wider mission of Islamic education. Through their dedication and service, they help create the environment in which knowledge, mentoring, character formation can flourish. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2007, Almarhum Professor Emeritus Dr. Mohd Kamal Hassan himself had penned this anthem. Since then, Leading the Way has been accompanying our students in their joys, struggles, aspirations, and achievements of generations of IIUM students and staff. Beloved guests, let us now, with one voice, proudly and loudly, sing together, Leading the Way.
Let's lead the way, lighten the future, share the wisdom to the spirit of Islam. Revelation and reason, we shall excel, we shall prevail. Merging faith and knowledge, we, the Khalifa, we will fulfill the Amanah. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. Is to realize the meaning of Ramadan lil Alameen. Together, we make the world a better place. Forever, expand the culture of Iqra. Is to realize the meaning of mercy to all worlds for mankind.
Thank you, and please be seated. Alhamdulillah, the event is now coming to an end. commemorate this session, we will now have a photography session. Okay. So, attention to everyone, we will be having our photography session on this side of the hall. So there will be some movements that I will be asking everyone to cooperate so that we can go outside early. Okay. The first line, the forefront of this photography session will be our panelists and our VIPs. And then the line after that will be our lecturers. And the line after that will be the students. So if everyone is clear, then can all get up and then move to this side of the hall. Thank you.